Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and there might be some subliminal messages in this video here, but I want to tell you about and show you and share with you a few things that happened uh, with the old cracker. Uh, you have to excuse me when I laugh at things that don't make sense and or aren't actually funny, because that's just me laughing at myself here. In the meantime, you're probably wondering what is going on with all these labels and stuff. And of course, it's time to show some results from some of the things that I decided to crack out and give another whack. And we'll start with the obvious, which is this 1907. This coin is just a coin that I really liked, and it was in an ICG holder, and it did not cross to PCGS. And so I decided to send it to NGC, at which time it came back in what we call a body bag. A body bag, of course, is one of these holders that says something like we're not going to encapsulate it because of residue. Now, this was interesting. PCGS did not cross. NGC actually says residue. So first of all, I like the coin in general. It's just a real nice, clean-looking coin. The fields are extra clean for a 10. Especially behind Liberty over here. The obverse, she actually has a lot of marks on her cheek, but they're actually pretty minor. And so what I didn't want to see was them saying something like, clean to residue. I was trying to figure out why in the world PCGS didn't cross this. And then, so I'm like, okay, let's send it into NGC. Now the NGC thing is a little bit interesting also, because normally when I send things into NGC, if it has a residue issue or something that they can conserve, they will usually send me a letter saying that, this is a good candidate for NCS conservation. And they didn't do that. So what I'm going to do now, as soon as I can get my fingers to work properly, is take a little bit closer look to see if we can find the residue. I'm just gonna have to hire somebody who knows how to open things. All right, so it's a little easier to see once we get it out of that package, because what we want to look for is residue. So usually residue pops up when you get the coin at a certain angle to the light, depending on the residue. So if you're talking about like some minor PVC damage, I've had lots of coins where you couldn't really see it until you get a certain angle, and then it'll just kind of pop up like a big flat green area. And one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at it again is there was this slight area of iridescent toning. And now I really honestly can't get it to show up on the camera here though, because it was in this field beneath the left wing of the eagle. And it just, the light here doesn't want to have it show up like it was showing up before. And I'm just curious as to whether or not that is what they were looking at. But I still don't see residue. So now I'm just kind of at a loss. I'm looking at a little mark, little white mark that's popping up under the U in trust and heading straight down, and I need to see if that is indeed something that is on the coin or not. So still a little bit of a mystery to me on this one. I don't like it when I can't see exactly what they're pointing out. Typically when they point something out and I just miss something, I can look and say, yeah, I missed that. All right, next up, I have this 1854-0 $10 gold piece, which is really a cool piece, an early New Orleans mint, which PCGS called XF Details Cleaned. Now, this is the type of coin that has a lot of potential, a lot of upside to it. It's a higher grade coin, not like a rare date or anything, but a 54-0 is something you don't really see every day. And the reason I resubmitted it was because if you look at enough of this early gold, you'll see a lot of it with light cleaning. and they're actually pretty forgiving. So you can actually see hairlines pop up above the eagle's wings and head right here when I turn it at this angle, those really fine lines headed kind of east to west, and then right above the A in states. Let's get a closer look at that. This is the type of thing that you want to look for when you're being really detail oriented on your coins, and you know, cleaning lines will pop up sometimes. So, you know, one of the issues with the earlier gold is that you see a lot of it cleaned, and a lot of it, like I said, they're very forgiving on. So I said, you know what, I'm going to send this in one more time, switch from PCGS to NGC, and really my goal here was just to get a straight grade. And if they called it cleaned, oh well. I'm not going to lose sleep over it because I knew that it had some hairlines to it. So they called it AU details cleaned, which is interesting because PCGS called it XF details. You know, it's the type of coin that the AU grade ranges are all over the place, 1700, 2700 from one grade to the next. And XF is about 1300. This is a coin that probably still is, you know, maybe a $1,300 coin the way it is. It's worth a little bit more than the gold content. You know, it's got $900 in gold in it currently. You know, common date 10s will trade in that 900 to 1100 range. And overall, it's a neat coin. I don't see too many coins from Nolans. And I know I don't say it right, but don't get too mad at me. Next up, we've got, so the funniest thing happened to me, wrong kind of funny though. You'll remember this proof nickel that I sent in. I bought raw as a proof, paid real big money for it, and sent it to PCGS. The funny thing that happened is I can't find my PCGS label. So, and that's not the good kind of funny. It's just maybe in a fit of rage, I threw it away somewhere. I don't know, but usually I keep them so that I can do this. And of course, the story goes, so for those of you who are just catching up, PCGS called this coin UNC cleaned. So they didn't call it a proof, and they called it cleaned. So I showed a couple different dealers, and I actually had a couple different dealers write in and say, hey Ben, you know, that is definitely a proof. And so what we're looking at was the way the rim is really squared off on this coin, its overall thickness and consistency. And there are actually some telltale signs on this particular coin, including some lines that currently are just north of this white post. So if you look on the rim itself, just north of the white post, I'm going to take a zoom in here and you'll see there is actually what looks like a line of sorts that runs right along the rim. It goes straight up and down there, and that's a telltale sign. So PCGS didn't call this coin proof. They called it UNC, and they called it cleaned. So I'm going to get a little bit more dust off of this holder real quick, and we'll look closer at our friend. Now, what I want to show you first, see if I am capable of this or not, is, see, this is so funny. I'm all like nervous. There it is. Proof. See the PF? All right. NGC called this a proof. So the next question is, did they call it cleaned? Did they straight grade it? And what grade did they give it? After PCGS called it cleaned. So it's a coin that really intrigues me. There's something about the coin that PCGS called cleaned, which, you know, sometimes you'll see grading companies net grade something, which means they'll actually just downgrade it for the hairlines and they won't call it cleaned. So this coin, you know, I'm not 100% sure how they grade proofs. And I'll be honest with you, this coin actually has a pretty nice look to it. It's not bright, it's not brilliant. You know, it has, you can see that little bit of blue and gold tone to it over the whole surface, which would indicate to me a coin that has not been cleaned or played with, because you can see that toning goes into the crevices all over the face of this coin. Also, you may have noted as we're looking at the coin closer, that there's not really, what would you say, contact marks, right? So like look in the field below the buffalo, his legs, and then like if you look in between the open area between his front legs and back legs, it's like you can see there's a contact mark, you know, just kind of sitting there by itself. It was right about yonder, right there. You know, so I'm starting to look for contact marks, and of course the buffalo hides contact marks really well. But I'm looking for things that would take the grade down, or things that would call it cleaned. NGC called this a proof 63. So, you know, if I'm mistaken here, maybe they're just saying that it's not brilliant, it doesn't have the eye appeal. It is largely contact free. You know, maybe it's getting downgraded for a lack of luster. It's lackluster performance. I don't know. So proof 63 overall, I feel like justice has been done in a way. I'm not going to mess with this coin anymore. I'm not going to send it in to get it certified. I will probably ask more than proof 63 price for it. I know some of you out there are concerned about money and me losing money. I don't, you know, at this point, this is kind of like winning a lawsuit kind of thing. You spend the money and you're happy when justice is done. Justice is not all the way done yet. By the way, this coin, they only made 1,050, and who knows exactly how many actually survived, because as you can tell, you know, a lot of people would mistake it for a regular nickel. All right, more justice and more weirdness. So this coin is 19S penny, which originally was in an ICG holder, which once again, I don't know what happened to it. The original holder, it was, I believe, in a 64 holder. I should just check my own videos. I'm not smart enough to do that. And then PCGS called it questionable color unk details. And as for those of you who've been following me for a while, you've heard me say over and over again, this is one of my favorite pennies that I've ever owned. This 19S penny. Now 19S is a tough date to get in high grade. They come very flatly struck, and they come, I want to say ugly, but the flatly struck thing is a real deal. But this coin here has all of that purple and lavender and rose gold all mixed over, that chocolate brown covered goodness. It's just like it's hard to describe. So I was not going to give up on this coin, and I'm still not going to give up on this coin because NGC called it MS65 brown. So we're getting closer to actually what this coin, in my opinion, really is. Now, sometimes you guys, some of you get mad at me for not being forceful enough. Some of you get mad at me for complaining too much. I think I try to be in the middle somewhere. And there are very few coins that I actually latch onto and just say, no, they're just flat out wrong, right? There's things that I can disagree with. I can look at this coin and say, I'm not sure, maybe I'm missing something, right? And I can look at this coin even and say, maybe I'm missing something. I think it's probably higher grade. Okay, whatever. This is the nicest 19S I've ever seen. I've seen them in auctions. I've looked at them up close, and it's just phenomenal. So I'm actually going to probably go one step farther with this coin, and that is to go ahead and send it to PCGS for crossover with their True View. You know, here's the deal. So this coin, a general 64 is a cheap coin, 100 and some odd dollars. A 65 brown is $320. A 65 red brown is like $675, right? And of course, a full red is stupid money. It's like $5 grand or something. But my point on this is that this coin will trade at more closer to red brown color. You know, I believe that the market value of this coin is $1,000 in my opinion. So I'm giving you all the funny fancy words to say, you know, you guys can all have an opinion. I've got mine, and I think this coin is phenomenal. And I'm just going to stand by it and keep on keeping on. So anyways, kids, just remember, all right. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben, the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen.